Hello, today I'm going to show you how to make fondant roses with materials that you have in your home without having to go out and purchase any special supplies. So I'm going to start off with some fondant that I already have and cut off about 1/2 inch of this. Kind of just work it in your hands a little bit to get it pliable, like you would Play-Doh, just to soften it up. Okay, so now that this is soft, I'm going to take it and roll it on the mat. Okay, well, it's about the size of a quarter. Okay, and what we're going to do here is start by cutting off 3 pieces for the center, and we're going to cut those about this wide. Okay, and I'm going to set those aside as my center pieces. Then we're going to go ahead and cut 4. And these will be the next set of petals that go around. And lastly, we'll cut 5 more. And that'll be for the last set of petals going around. Okay, so what I have done here, I've taken just a gallon Ziploc bag. The plastic will keep the fondant from sticking to anything that you use to flatten it out. And so I've taken this bag and I've cut the zipper off and I've cut down each side of it. So I can just open it up like this. And I'm going to lay out these pieces. Separate them. Let's see. Move those aside. Just evenly spaced, doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to close the plastic back over top of them. Okay, so you can see I have them like that. Now for flattening them out, again, very basic. I've got a glass, round bottom, flat, you know, very easy to use. So I'm going to take and press and apply pressure, kind of rolling it around, hoping to smash that evenly. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think the beauty of making each rose is that it is indeed imperfect. So I'm going to go through each piece and do the same. My glass has a little imprint on the bottom. You'll find that really doesn't matter. You're not going to notice it when you form the roses. So I'm going to open up this sheet of plastic to get the wrinkles out, close it back down, and I'm going to pick a side. I've got the words here, so I'm going to start on the left-hand side of that and kind of rub the edge with my thumb. I can apply pretty good pressure, and I'm just going to rub one side of it, kind of get it a little thinner than what the glass could press. It stretches out the fondant a little more, and it'll make for prettier rose petals. So I'm only doing one side because the other side is going to be used as the base of the rose. So it's really not that important to thin it out. You want that to hold together pretty well. Okay, last one. Flip this over. Quickly do the same thing on the same side, applying pressure just to one side of these petals that I'm making. It's quicker to do this assembly line style. I could take and create each one of these in segments as I would make the rose, but it takes a lot longer that way. I find this to be the most efficient. So I'm going to take these, set them out of the way because I have the remaining 3 to press. You can just lay them on your counter surface, whatever it is you might be doing. I have also made these on a tray, like a TV tray or something like that. You can sit to make them. You certainly don't have to stand. I know some people actually form and shape these with their fingers, and I have done that as well. I just find this to be a quicker method. It depends on the time that you have and how many you're making as to how quickly you want to get these pressed out. So again, I'm going to open this up. Oops, sorry there. Didn't mean to knock into the camera. I'm going to open this up to straighten things up. Then I'm going to rub one side of each of these petals to thin them out a little bit. Flip it over. Do the same on the other side. Open. Okay, I have all I need to go ahead and start this process. So moving the bag out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and start with the petal that looks the thickest to me, that maybe didn't thin out quite as much. And I'm going to start rolling it just from one side, pinch in a little bit and start a roll. You can see it's starting to form a really pretty rosebud here. So I'm going to take the second petal, push it in, trying to keep the height the same. Start rolling that up, just gently. And then the third. Again, trying to keep the height the same. And so if you wanted, if you were just making rosebuds, you could go ahead and just use this as that and fan out the tops, and you could use that as a bud. But we're making the full rose at the moment, so we'll go ahead and open this back up. Okay, so that was the base of the bud. That was the first 3 petals. Next, I'm going to incorporate 4 for the second layer of this rose. There's 1. As you can see, this is so simple, and it turns out just beautifully. 2. 3. And 4. Okay, now we're going to work on our final row, which has 5 petals. I'm going to start with the smallest that I have. I'll put them out here for you all to see. Of course, they don't all come out even. And when I'm finishing up this last row, I'm going to save the largest petal that I have for last. Actually, might be that one. So let me start with the smallest first. Again, I'm just trying to stick to the same height here. You don't want to make it taller. or shorter because it's going to make your rose look misformed. So you can take these edges that are here and pull them away a little bit. You don't want them so tight up around the top because that's what gives you the fullness of the rose and the petals. So as you go, try to keep them separated, and you want to be careful not to press any of these together because they do stick pretty well. Okay. Let's see. Reposition that. My final petal. Okay, so I've got all the petals here, and what I'm going to do next is just, you see we have this big thick base at the bottom. I'm going to gently press in and rotate the rose, and you can see that it kind of opens it up as if it were blooming and pushes that in. So once you have that push out the way that you like it, you can take and cut off the remainder of the fondant at the bottom. That way it can set flat when it dries. And go ahead and just take your fingers. I take these three right here, and I just kind of pinch the petals gently, pressing them down, forming them. It adds the natural look to that rose, which is what you want. I'm pressing them in. Let's see. Two fingers might be easier for some. Depends. I've seen people roll down the sides as well. I'm just going to open that up a little bit. All right, and there we have one. I'm going to set this one aside, and we're going to go ahead, just that needs to dry, of course. We're going to go ahead and work with some more, and I'll run through the steps again. So I have some already. I probably don't need to cut off quite as much this time since I have enough left over. Just a smaller slice of that fondant. And you can definitely make the color different. If you have any type of food coloring, I recommend using the paste. If you get into the liquid food coloring, it really does change the texture of these, and that's probably not what you want. Makes it a lot harder to work with. So we're going to roll this out again, keeping this about the size of a quarter in diameter. Let's go ahead and make 3 for the center. And it doesn't have to be exact. You can mix this up. Feel free to make them your own way. That is the beauty of this, such as each rose is different. The way each person makes them is different. Each rose can be different. Okay, so let's go ahead and take that, and we'll just start off the middle with 2. So I'm going to get my plastic out. Okay, I have 2 pieces left over that I will have to flatten after I finish these. Okay, so press in the center, rotate your glass in a circle as you're pressing. It encourages a more circular shape. I've also used a tortilla press to do this. If you have one of those, it works just as well. However, it is more time consuming because you can only do one at a time, whereas this method obviously is a bit easier. You don't have to have a tortilla press, and you're getting 6 at a time here. I'm quite sure that if you do not even have Ziploc bags in the house, but have something such as a couple of cutting boards, it would probably even work to put them between those and apply pressure to flatten them out that way. So feel free to get creative. It doesn't have to be done a certain way. This is just what I found to be easy. Oh, and that one came clear out of the bag there. Look at that, which is okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'll use that as my inside and just apply pressure to the opposite side. Okay, let's get this bag apart. It does stick so well together, you have to fiddle with it for a moment to figure out which side you're pulling to get the bag to open. Okay. It smells very good. All right, and the last two. Okay, and again, opening it up gets the wrinkles out of the plastic so you can work with your piece a lot more efficiently. The wrinkles in the plastic can actually cut into the fondant too and make crease where you don't want it. So it's easier to go ahead and smooth that out while you have the chance. All right, that was the last two. Let's get the bag out of our way again. Okay. So I'm going to start with the smallest of the two that I have. Make sure I'm moving all of these into view for you. My circles are nowhere near perfect, but they certainly work up beautifully. All right, so pinch slightly, start rolling with your fingers. We're only using 2 for the center this time. All right, and again, if you just wanted to use that as a rosebud and not go any further, that would certainly be okay. If you're making a lot for a cake, that's a good idea to have all different stages of the flower. Okay, so there was 1 in the second set. Petal number 2. Three. And 4. All right, and we're going to start on the last and final row. This will have 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4 on the final. Okay, and so again, I'm going to start just by applying pressure at the base and rotating it so it causes the rose to bloom, if you will. Once you get it where you like, you can cut off the excess. All right. And start forming your petals into a more natural state by pinching down the sides. Sometimes they stick just a little bit. And gently lift them, bend it down to a more natural state. Okay, so here we have the 2 roses that we've made. While I am talking to you, I'm going to roll out this little bit that I have left, cut it into probably 3 small pieces, and make a rosebud to accompany these. So once you have these, you can set them on a mat in a safe place and let them air dry. I have found 24 hours is pretty good. You can also go longer than that. The point is really to get them nice and firm so that when you're using them for a cake or something like that, whatever it is that you're creating, they're nice and firm and you don't have them moving around on your cake. You can also put a pick in the bottom while you're forming the middle. So when you were forming this part of the rose in this process, you could put a toothpick in here and roll it up so that you have something to make it easier to stick onto your cake if that's what you wanted. Okay. Let's do this side. All right, these are a little thicker. I most certainly did not thin them out like I did the others. But there you can see, makes a lovely rosebud. Make that flat. All right. So I hope you all enjoyed my video today. Thank you for watching, taking the time to watch. If you liked it, would you hit that like button for me and hit subscribe? That way you can be made aware of any time a new video is out. Thank you so much. Look forward to next time.